Okay, I think it's 8:03, so we can get started. So we don't waste everyone's time. All right, so welcome everyone to our webinar series about the P.Eng licensure procedure in Ontario, presented by P.Eng Academy. My name is Abdul Rahman Ayad, and I'm one of the founders of P.Eng Academy, along with my colleagues and friends, Dr. Mohsen Khalaf and Dr. Muhammad Hamouda. Um, we're very happy to be with you today to talk about the different steps and procedures to become a P.Eng, a licensed engineer in the province of Ontario and other provinces as well as to answer any question you have about the steps in your journey to become a professional engineer. So for your information, this webinar will be recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel as well. So if you miss any um, part of the lecture, or if you want to revisit part of it, you're welcome to go back and check it as you need. So today we'll be talking about a couple of key points in the licensure journey you have. So we'll begin first by introducing our P.Eng Academy, its vision, what it provides for applicants for the professional engineer program in Ontario and other provinces, and we will explain the steps you need to make, whether you at different stages, whether you need to have a course or take the CBA or take any other parts of the steps taken, then we'll help you throughout the process as well. As part of today's lecture, we will provide two mini lectures. The first one on the electrical A1 systems and control, circuits, and electrical A2 systems and control courses to give you a glimpse of how we approach the teachings of our courses in this program. And last but not least, we'll provide you with the list of services and that we provide for this fall and the special discounts we have for today's attendees of the webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and ask right away, or you can type it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer you right away. If you have any personal questions you need to ask about your personal information, you're also welcome to chat with one of us, any attendee with the P.Eng Academy name, so they can help you in a faster way. Okay. Does anyone have any question before we begin? Okay, excellent. Let's get started. So, first of all, we'll give you a very quick introduction about P.Eng Academy. We founded P.Eng Academy in 2024 in the province of Ontario to help fellow engineering graduates in their journey towards becoming a professional engineer. And our motivation is to help uh, the incoming engineers, especially engineers coming from outside of Canada, because all of us have gone through the process and we know how much it could be a challenge, especially to manage your work or your studies and navigate the process, which could be very lengthy and with multiple steps that needs a lot of explanation of what needs to be done. So our goal is to provide a first hand experience based on our recent experience with the PO to provide a comprehensive um, help starting from the technical courses, which is given by experts in the fields who are professional engineers and are very well aware of the structure of the exams, who can give you personalized support in preparing to these exams and technical competencies. Uh, we're we're committed to helping you to unlock your full potential. We're very aware of your all of your amazing background and expertise coming to Canada, or you're already having a degree from Canada. I just need to be aware of the steps so we can gain professional credibility and standouts in competitive market by becoming a professional engineer. So How to become a professional engineer? This is the main question we're trying to answer. And if you are familiar at all with the process, you'll know there are three main steps or phases of becoming a professional engineer. If you don't know them at all, don't worry at all. That's why we're here. The first part is the eligibility requirements. So essentially, in order to become a professional engineer in the province of Ontario, you need to be at least 18 years old and you need to have a bachelor's degree in an engineering program that is at least 4 years in length. That could be a program from inside or outside of Canada. And this part we cannot help you with, so you need to have this part completed before you start the process. The second part, which is the application requirements. So this is the main part of the application where you provide the PEO um, uh, organization your history of education, and so they can check against their list of courses and requirements to ensure you have satisfied the academic requirements on their part. And depending on the degree and country and many different factors, they will let you know if you need to take one or more exam in order to satisfy the academic requirement parts. The second component of the application requirements is to have the experience part, which is 48 months of acceptable and verifiable professional engineering experience. So in order to demonstrate this part of 48 months, you have to document and document this process, document all the jobs you have worked, and provide the PO with what is called the CBA. And we will talk in a bit of detail about that process and how we can pass this stage. Last but not least, once you finish these two parts, you will be able to submit the application where PEO will assess the application within 180 days. And also you'll need to take what is called the National Professional Practice Exam or NPPE. And this is a separate component than the technical exams. Um, and once you submit that, you will have your decision within 180 days. Very recently, actually, within the last week, the PO announced they can actually take the NPPP exam um, in a different stage. So you don't have to wait until you finish all the requirements. You can actually take the NPPE before, but this is a separate conversation we can discuss as well. So how can we help? The P.Eng Academy help you with the second process, the application requirements. So we provide services for the academic requirements preparation for the technical exams, as well as help you document the CBA documents you need to submit. So the first part, as I mentioned, is the academic requirements. So these are the technical exams that you need to prepare for, which are required by applicants who do not have an undergraduate engineering degree from a program accredited by the CEAB or the Canadian Engineering Accreditation Board. So in a nutshell, if you have taken your um,
तो
undergraduate degree
आपकी
from
मॉर्गेज की
outside of Canada,
जो मंथली
then
पेमेंट है
you most probably need to take the technical exams. Um, there are no two applicants who have the same profile. We meet a lot of applicants who have very different profiles, including applicants who got their undergraduate degree from a country outside of Canada, but then they got their master's or PhD in Canada, or maybe only got the undergraduate degree outside of Canada, and depending on the country. So every profile is unique, and depending on your situation, PEO will assess these requirements and let you know the exams you need to take, if any. So the technical exams usually consist of 4 exams. So these are the package of technical sessions you have to take. These 4 exams follow into 3 categories. The first one is Group A, so you need to take two Group A exams from any engineering discipline, and this is depending on the field or your discipline of your background. So if you're having a mechanical engineering degree or electrical or civil, depending on the type, they have an engineering discipline for all the known engineering fields. So you need to take 2 courses from Group A and then 1 exam from Group B from any engineering discipline. Again, the most common case is people will take these exams A and B from within engineering discipline. So mechanical, you take two from group A and one from group B. And last but not least, you'll take one complementary studies exam, which is a non-technical exam. So there are a list of couple of courses which you can take regardless of your major or your field, which will complement your engineering disciplines group A and B. Okay. And for this, you don't need to score more than 50%. But of course, at P.Eng Academy, we prepare you to ace the exam and pass it with full confidence. And just as a quick note, the technical exams are chaired and administered between different provinces with the same technical session. So, for example, Ontario and British Columbia share the exact same curriculum with the exact same technical session at the same time. So, even if you're attending today and you're not, you are from outside of Ontario, so for example, British Columbia, uh, we can help you in getting past the exams because they are the same. So depending on your province, you may be able to consult with us to see if we can provide you with the necessary preparation for the exams. Okay. Does anyone have any questions so far that I can answer? Okay. Please feel free to interrupt me anytime or ask in the chat. All right. So for the academic requirements, these exam sessions uh, take place only twice a year. So there is a spring examination session and a fall examination session. So the next one, the upcoming one, is the fall 2025, with the exams starting in September. So the deadline for registering for this exam is July 18th. So less than 3 weeks away. You need to specify the list of exams you need to register and actually register with PO uh, the exams you need to take. So I've put here the QR code of the uh, list of exams available for this fall, for this session of 2025. And we will also post the link in the chat so you need it so you can check which exams you can enter this fall. Um, as a quick note, you don't have to take all the four exams at the same time. You can take one, two, three, or four, depending on your schedule and your background and your eligibility. So also please discuss with us your plan, and we can help you uh, tailor a study plan based on your schedule. So with our experience in knowing which courses can take more time and which courses take more preparation, so we can help you decide whether to take two or three or four courses at the same session. So you can divide your courses or exams at multiple sessions. Yeah, so we can help you decide with the choices of each exam. All right. So the second part, after taking the technical examinations, you need to demonstrate the 48 months of acceptable and verifiable professional engineering experience. And the PO publishes a set of requirements of how this experience is validated. So, for example, if you have taken any postgraduate studies program like a master's or a PhD, you may be eligible to counting some of these 48 months as part of your program. If you have taken an internship, this also can be counted. So, in order to know the exact requirements, then you need to consult with PO or ask us for any questions you have. The CBA is a program or a document that was recently launched by the PEO in order to facilitate the experience of the applicants submitting their experience. So essentially, the CBA is a set of questions, very detailed list of questions, where you answer different types of provide different types of experiences to make sure you have the necessary experience for the eligibility of the 48 months of acceptable experience. So the PO will assess the CBA to ensure you are ready to become a professional engineer. by examining your competency, regardless of the major, across several categories. So we can help you and in order to prepare the CBA according to the PO validation guideline. So based on our experience and with helping many applicants before, uh, we are familiar with what guidelines the PO requires for the CBA. Of course, we cannot guarantee any CBE assessment, but we definitely help you to get the best of your experience and profile in order to demonstrate your eligibility requirements. A part of our services, we provide one-on-one consultation to guide your unique profile in order to meet the CBA requirements. So, in a nutshell, why would you choose P.Eng Academy? So we are proud that we provide comprehensive study materials tailored to the technical exams. We also take pride in helping applicants with a personalized mentorship experience to support you through your journey from the start to the very end. And we also continuously hold workshops and webinars and post on our social media channels a lot of information that can deepen your understanding of the different topics and the steps and any updates published by the PO. And we can also guide you through the application and with the CB experience report requirements in order to demonstrate your experience and readiness for the PEng licensure. So focusing on our strategy to prepare you for the technical exams, we are very aware of your busy schedule and your background as a professional engineer coming from different universities and countries. So we tailor the professional examination strategy based on your background. And in doing so, we take a practical approach where we balance between providing a high quality content based on the literature and the syllabus of the content published by the PEO, but we also focus on the previous exams. We take a practical approach where we want you to succeed in passing the exams with the most efficient way. We're not, our goal is not for you to retake the course from an undergraduate perspective, but also focus on how to answer the questions you will face in the exams. And to do so, we provide you with a set of the complete set of solutions from the previous exams so you can practice how to answer the different types of questions you face in each exam. For each course, we provide a minimum of 24 teaching hours to ensure you get the full scope of the course and also provide any necessary guidance if needed beyond the 24 hours needed. We only take a maximum of 6 students per group per course in order to ensure active engagement between the students and the instructor and make sure that every student applicant is very well aware of the content being presented and is ready for the exam. And we depend on professional engineers who have experience with the previous exams and also access to previous PO exams, as I mentioned. Uh, and because we're aware of your very busy schedule, then we also provide the recorded lectures and content so you can consult them afterwards and go back to take your notes as needed. So for this fall 2025, we present you with the list of courses we offer as P.Eng Academy. So again, these are not the courses, these are not the full exhaustive list of courses offered by the PEO for examinations this session, but these are the courses we offer for this session. So for the electrical engineering uh, discipline, which I imagine most of attendees today, we provide electric circuits A1, systems and control A2, for which we provide a mini lecture today. But also we provide power systems and machines, electrical A6, and power systems engineering, electrical B7. So as you can see, we provide 3 courses from group A and 1 course from group B. But if you have any specific question regarding a different type of um, course, please let us know and we can help you through that. For mechanical engineering, we also provide 4 courses in the mechanical engineering discipline and 5 courses in the mechatronics engineering. And many of these are uh, cross teachings between the courses because the PO actually have them as cross courses. So the content and the syllabus of some of these courses are very similar to each other. Last but not least, for the CS or the complementary studies, we provide engineering economics, which, as I mentioned, is for all major. So, regardless of your discipline, you need to take one complementary study course for which provide engineering economics because we think it's the uh, one of the easiest course and actually very practical course to take, will very be relevant to your experience. All right, so with that, we're through our first part of the lecture. Uh, the next part will be the mini lectures part. The first part will be by Dr. Mohsen Khalaf, who will give a mini lecture on the course of electrical engineering A1 electric circuits. Before I turn to Dr. Mohsen, does anyone have any questions so far I can help with?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Um, can we take like one, if we want to, can we take one course from each discipline, like electrical, mechanical, and mechatronics?
You want to take from 2 disciplines, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, we generally advise with taking from the same discipline because each discipline have a set of structure exams, so it's easier to take from the same discipline. But if you have some personal preference to take, we can talk with you to discuss in more details.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but are you from Ontario or are you taking with the PO?
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes the PO does provide guidance on which exams you need to take. So that's why I'm asking, depending on your field, it may be possible or not. So if we can chat individually, we can give you a more personalized and accurate answer.
Okay. Sounds great. Yeah, I'll contact you after this.
Excellent. Okay, and we'll be with you in the chat right away.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Any other questions I can answer before we go
Yes,
to the
hi.
mini lecture? Hi.
Hi, this is sorry, this is Mo. Actually, I joined a little bit late to the lecture, but
No
my
worries.
question is, I just catch the part where you start saying the deadline for, not the deadline, like the next exam is going to be on September, where we have 2 weeks to register. In July, we have to register for this, right?
So the deadline for registration is July 18th. And the
July 18th.
exams, yes, and the exam will start on September 1st. The PO unfortunately does not publish the exact schedule of the exams, or it's not published yet, but they have mentioned that this session, the exams will start early as September 1st.
Cool. So now, if I register for this September, the coming September, and
Mhm.
by that time I wasn't ready to take the exam, uh, like what's gonna happen?
Okay, so you mean if you want to reschedule the exams?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay,
What if I attend and I failed? I might try to attend and then fail, but is that a problem? Because I don't
okay,
want to
so
miss the chance of registering now. Maybe I'll make it on September. I'll be able to study and prepare myself for that.
Okay, so these are 2 separate questions. The first one is about rescheduling before taking the exams. I can double check and come back to you, or if any of my colleagues have a better answer. But for the second part, if you prepare and don't pass, then you're allowed to retake the exams after. Of course, the only problem is that you'll pay the fees again, but you are allowed to take the exams multiple times without problems. But again,
Cool.
I would advise if we can help you discuss your specific background and whether you can be ready, um, even if you don't take the courses with us. That's fine. We can also discuss with you what's your plan going forward and whether these 2 months are enough to prepare or not. Because um, in the most cases, we know that you may not have the content fresh in your mind. You need some refreshment, but otherwise you should be ready to prepare within 2 months.
Okay, thank you. And do you know roughly how much is the fees if I want
I
to
don't
retake
have
it? And
I don't
is there like a
have
number? Multiple times means like one, twice, or I can't take it until I pass.
again, I
So,
don't have a ready answer, but I can get back to you in the chat right away.
so if I can interject here for a second. So, are you
Yes, please.
asking about the fees for the exam itself?
Yes,
Yeah.
apart
So
apart
for the
from the
exam,
courses.
it's sorry, for the exam or the courses. So for the
No,
exam, it's 1,300 total for the four exams that you have to take. For the courses, I think by the end of this presentation, Dr. Abdurrahman will go through the all the fees details for all the
oh,
courses that we will provide.
sure. Thank you so much. I'll
No
be
worries.
here.
All right, so let's continue with the mini lecture, and then we'll have at the end of the webinar additional time for questions if you still have any. Okay. All right, so Dr. Mohsen, you can take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's lecture. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the presentation or a wrong
No,
screen?
we see the PowerPoint slides, not the slideshow.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so welcome again to today's lecture. My name is Mohsen Khalaf. I'll be the instructor for electric A1 circuits for this exam setting. So today I'm going to introduce the electric A1 circuits and we'll give a micro teaching session for one of the important topics in this course, which is Thevenin's theorem. So this is the outline of today's presentation. We will start first by the course map. I will talk about the course, and then for the Thevenin's theorem, we will talk about the objective, the motivation, the theorem itself. We will also practice a couple of examples and the previous exam questions, and then we will end up by the summary. So let's start with an introduction about the course itself. So circuits is one of the very basic courses that are that is important for all engineers, all electrical engineers in different disciplines. It's important for electrical engineers, for power systems engineers, for design engineers, for communication, and for electronics engineers. Basically because it has all the basic laws and basic concepts of electric circuits that we can use in different fields. So as per PEO's website, this course covers different components here, including the electric circuit components, the nodal and mesh analysis of linear and passive circuits. We're going to talk about equivalent networks. That's one that this topic we'll discuss Thevenin's theorem from about today. And we'll talk about also the steady state analysis of lump parameters, the time invariant circuits, which include also different equation formulation, sinusoidal inputs, frequency response, impulse response, and transfer functions. Last but not least, we are gonna introduce the Laplace transform analysis and circuit transient response. So this is about like a quick introduction about the content of the course. What about the exam? The exam in the PO, it's a 3 hours closed book exam. In the exam, there will be 6 questions, and you will be required to solve 5 of these 6 questions. So by the end of this course, you will be able to answer the 6 questions, or you will be able to have a strategy for yourself to pass the exam. So let's now talk about Thevenin's theorem. The objective of this micro-teaching session is to understand the motivation of Thevenin's theorem and understand how to calculate the equivalent component or the equivalent circuit using Thevenin's theorem, or to calculate the Thevenin model parameters, which are R Thevenin and Z Thevenin and V Thevenin. So the motivation here for any linear circuit, we wanna reduce the circuit from this to this here. So we want to simplify our circuit. We want to have only a voltage source and a series impedance instead of dealing with this whole circuit with this large circuit here. So let's see the theorem. So Thevenin's theorem states that for a linear two-terminal circuit, the circuit can be replaced by an equivalent circuit consisting of a voltage source, which is equal to V Thevenin, in series with an impedance V Thevenin. So in DC circuits, we have a voltage source in series to R Thevenin or a resistance, and in AC circuits, we have volts Thevenin in series to Z Thevenins. So our objective in this lecture is to know how to calculate V Thevenin and how to calculate R Thevenin or Z Thevenin. So let's define V Thevenin as the open circuit voltage at the terminals here, A and B. If we go back one slide here, if we want to calculate the V Thevenin between A and B, it's simply the open circuit voltage between A and B. That's about V Thevenin. What about Z Thevenin? So Z Thevenin is the input impedance between A and B, or the equivalent impedance at the terminals when all the independent sources are turned off. And actually, there are many terms here that we could define. So what is the definition of linear circuit? What is linear circuit? What is nonlinear circuit? What is independent source? What is dependent and independent source? What are the difference between both of them? So these are all questions that I'm not going to go through in detail in today's lecture, but if you take the course with us, we would have introduced these definitions in previous lectures. So let's now take one of the examples to practice how to calculate Thevenin's equivalent for any circuit. So in this example, find the Thevenin equivalent circuit of the circuit shown in the figure to the left here of the terminals AB, and then find the current through RL. So the main question here, we want to calculate the current that's passing through the resistor RL here. My question, is it easier to calculate it from this circuit, or is it possible, or is it easier to calculate it from a simple circuit that has only a voltage source and a series resistor? For sure, it's easier if we have only a voltage source and a series resistor. That's why we want to simplify this circuit here to a voltage source and a series resistor, and then we can calculate the current. Okay, so let's do this step by step. In order to calculate V Thevenin, let's recall the theorem. So according to the theorem, V Thevenin is the open voltage, is the open circuit voltage between the two terminals A and B. So let's have the circuit here, open the circuit between A and B, and calculate the voltage here between terminals A and B. Let's use mesh analysis. Someone will ask me, like, can we use a different method like nodal analysis? For sure you can use it. And this is actually one fun part about electric circuits, is that you can teach any circuit with multiple methods, with multiple theorems. So if you, for example, forget how to use one of the theorems, you can definitely use a different theorem. So if we use the the mesh analysis here, we're going to assume current in every mesh, and then we start writing the equations here. So someone will ask, what about the current in this last mesh here? Do we need to write any value or any equation for the current here? Actually, we don't, because this is an open circuit and the current here in the 1 ohm resistor is 0. So let's starting with the first mesh here. If we apply Kirchhoff voltage law, also Kirchhoff voltage law is one of the laws that we will like in the course we talk about before we go to Thevenin theorem. So let's apply Kirchhoff voltage law in this mesh here. So if we go in this direction, it's going to be minus 32 volts. And to calculate the voltage across this resistor, we multiply the resistance by the current of the mesh, which is I1. So we have 4 I1, and then we need a voltage for this, the 12 ohm resistor here. In this case, this resistor carries two current. It carries I1 in this direction, that it's going downwards, and it carries I2, which is going upwards. So the total current that's passing through the resistor, to the 12 ohm resistor here, is I1 minus I2, and the voltage is 12 times the total current. So according to Kirchhoff voltage law here, the summation of all the voltages is equal to 0. So that's the equation for the first loop. For the second loop, here we have only one equation. So given that we have a current source here, so I2 is equal to the value of the current source, but because the direction is different, so it is minus 2 amperes. Okay? So if we solve, we have two equations here with two unknowns. If we solve these two equations, we can easily get the value of I1, which is 0.5 amperes. And then V7 in here can be calculated as the voltage across this resistor here, because as we said, there's no current here. So the voltage of V7 will be the voltage at this point here. These are two in parallel. So in this case, the voltage V7 is equal to 12 times the current that's passing in the 12, which we've said it's I1 minus I2. So using the values that we calculated above, we can end up by V7 is equal to 30 volts. Okay, any questions so far? Just stop me at any moment if you have any questions. And as we said, we can use different methods to solve any circuit. So that's a take-home assignment. Find V7 using nodal analysis. Okay, and for sure, if you have any questions, just let me know. Now, the second part of the question. We want to calculate our Thevenin. So let's recall the theorem. So this is actually the strategy that we will follow in all our questions and in all our assignments. So we will understand what is requested in the question and recall the correct theorem or the correct method, and then start applying what we have learned. So if we recall the theorem here, we said that R Thevenin is the input impedance, or the equivalent impedance here when all independent sources are turned off. This is an independent source. Independent source means that it's just a constant, a number, a constant. This is an independent source. So let's turn off these two independent sources to calculate RL. So when we turn off the sources, the voltage source is transferred to a short circuit, and the current source is transferred to an open circuit. This is how we turn off the sources. If we do this, we will end up by this circuit here, which we can easily use to calculate our Thevenins. So we have 4 ohms in parallel to 12 ohms, and the equivalent of them is in series with 1 ohms. So 4 parallel to 12 plus 1, which is equal to 4 times 12 divided by 4 plus 12, and then plus 1, which is 4 ohms. So now we have the value of V Thevenins, we have the value of R Thevenins. Let's get back to our original assignment here. We want to calculate IL if RL is 6 ohms. Okay, now you can see the difference. You can see how easy we calculate IL from this circuit rather than using this complicated circuit for calculating. So if we plug 6 ohms of RL here, in this case, we can easily calculate IL by dividing the voltage 30 volt by the summation of these two resistances. In this case, it's 30 divided by 10, which is 3 amperes. Okay, any questions? Okay, good. So that's another question here on how to calculate Thevenin's equivalent, but this question is more advanced question because we have a dependent source here. So a dependent source means that the value of the voltage that this voltage source can output here is dependent on a specific parameter in the circuit. In this case, it's dependent on Vx, which is the voltage across this resistance. So let's see how to approach this question here. Let's first calculate the Thevenin. Again, we recall the question, the theorem. We calculate the open circuit voltage between the terminals. We will use the same approach here. We will use the mesh analysis. We write the equation for the first mesh. We write the equation for the second mesh, and we write the equation for the third mesh. So we have 3 meshes here. We have the equation for every mesh. We can write them similar to what we've done in the previous example. But in this case, we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 unknowns and 3 equations only. In this case, we cannot solve these equations. So what should we do here is that we should find another equation, a fourth equation, so that we have 4 equations and 4 unknowns. So the equation that we will use here is the relation between Vx and the current here. So similarly to, if we go back here, similar to the voltage across this resistance, we will do the same here. So the voltage across the 4 ohms is Vx. Vx in this case is equal to 4 ohms multiplied by the total current, which is I1 minus I2. And this is going to be our fourth equation. In the lecture, I will teach you how to solve these equations using the calculator. There's no need to solve these equations manually. I know it's not an easy and it's time wasting. So I will teach you a method on how to use your calculator to solve these equations. So if we solve these equations together, we can end up by V Thevenin is equal to the open circuit voltage here, which is 6I2 and 20 volts. Any questions so far? Okay, so the second part here about our Thevenins. Again, we recall our theorem. We calculate the input resistance when all independent sources are turned off. We have only one independent resource here, which is the 5 amperes current source. In this case, we make this as open circuit. However, we still have the 2Vx dependent voltage source here. So how are we going to approach this? Actually, this will be the topic of the next lecture. Okay, so these are 2 examples just to explain to you the concept of the Thevenin theorem. Let's see how Thevenin theorem appears in the exams. Actually, Thevenin theorem is one of the important topics that appears in all the exams. For example, in this exam problem, here it's question number 4. find the Thevenin equivalent for this circuit between the terminals AB. You think that this has only 12 marks. However, in my understanding, or according to what I see, it actually has 12 plus 2 plus 6. So it's 20 marks, because simply, if you cannot answer the first part, you will not be able to answer part C and B and C. So that's very important topic, and you need to understand it. However, if we follow the same steps that we discussed before, it's going to be very straightforward. So let's see how to calculate this. Let's start with Z7. Again, recalling the theorem, in order to calculate the input resistance, we need to turn off all independent sources. We have one independent source here. This is a voltage source. Turning this off means that converting this to a short circuit. So now we have this circuit, and we need to calculate the equivalent impedance between A and B. Let's simplify this circuit a bit here. So let's have these terminals like this, and then this branch here is connecting actually this node and that node. So in order to have a better view of the circuit, let's have this branch inside between this node and this node like this here. Now I think it's easy. I think it's easy to calculate the equivalent impedance between terminals A and B. That's very straightforward. And like that's very easy, more than if you use this figure, for example. So in here we have two impedances in parallel, another two impedances in parallel, and these two impedances are in series with these two impedances. Okay, so let's calculate the equivalent for them. Z7 is equal to 2 ohms in parallel to J10 plus 6 ohms in parallel to minus J50. So calculating the equivalent of them, we can end up by this value for V7. Okay? Any questions so far? So this is one of the questions that always show up in the exam, not specifically this question, but similar question always show up in all the exams. Okay? So what we've learned in today's lecture, we talked about Thevenin theorem and how can we use it to simplify any complicated circuit to a voltage source and an impedance. We said that we can apply voltage Thevenin theorem only for linear circuits. And we said that in order to calculate V Thevenin, we need to calculate the open circuit voltage between the terminals. And for this Thevenin, we calculate the input impedance when all independent sources are turned off. So these are the references that we've used to prepare this lecture, and thank you. Any questions? You can ask any questions within the topic of the lecture or any question about the course itself.
Most of the questions are from the circuits or or from power system analysis.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
What is the question weightage given to the electrical circuits, especially? The number of questions in the examination, like common examination.
Yeah, in the exam, there is 6 questions in the circuits exam, and 5 of these questions will be mandatory. Yeah, you need to solve at least 5 questions.
Okay, out of 6, 5. Okay.
Yep.
And each carries how much mark?
Like it's like the full exam carries 100 marks.
100, yeah.
Yeah, and the pass rating is 50.
It's 50, yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So all exam, like all 6 question is are like the analysis based, like to solve the example or any also exam coming like theoretical stuff as well.
No, like all the questions are like solving circuits, calculating currents, voltages, powers, and all this.
Okay, yeah.
I
Thank you.
just want to interject here as well. So this is only for circuits, but for other courses, you will see like theoretical exams uh, as well, like electric machines, like A6. You will see like theoretical questions as well.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
So I have a question on there are 4 groups to pick up exams to register, right? So I heard earlier, I joined in late, but I heard earlier that when you're picking up the exam to write, it's safer, or should I say better, to select course exams that align with each other. Is that right? Like if it's circuits, group B should be around circuits. If it is power, group A and B should be around power. I just want to
So,
clarify that.
so in my, according to my experience, group B goes by exclusion. So, like, if, for example, eh, like if you know that there is a good preparation for B7, for example, or specific course in Group B or specific exam in Group B, then it's better to go with them because they are uh, advanced courses or advanced exams. So there's overlap. For example, there's overlap between A6 and B7. However, the level of the exams of A6 and B7 is completely different.
Okay.
Does this answer the question?
So you mean there are, so what you're trying to say is for the group A and the group B, they are of different so the group B will be more advanced than the group A, basically,
Yes.
right?
Yes, they are more specialized exams, like in your area of expertise. But what I talked about in the beginning, that the circuit is one of the basic courses in all the exams, because you will definitely need the Kirchhoff current law, the Kirchhoff voltage law, and all these laws that or all these concepts that we explain in the circuits, you will use them in A6, for example, you will use them in B7, for example, for to solve power system problems. That's what I meant by my comment in the beginning.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're
And how about the other groups too? There are 4 exams. Do you also train for the other 2 groups?
Yeah, we talked about this in the beginning. We provide courses like a complete package.
Okay.
Like at least 2 courses from Group A, a course from Group B, and a course from CS.
Okay. And then finally, I know there's a release to register the exams. Is it for the that's for the fall? Is that supposed to be written in September or in November? I'm
For
not sure.
like you should be prepared for the exam as early as September 1st. And there's no guarantee that the exam will be on September 1st or in November 30th. Like the PEO usually releases the exact schedule or the detailed schedule a few weeks before the exam.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if there is any other question, we can like wait until the end of the webinar just for our time.
Yep, sure.
That
Thank
would
you.
be appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's continue with the second part of the mini lectures. I will try to keep it short because I know we're running out of time. But the second lecture will be on control systems or systems and control electrical A2. And as Dr. Mohsen was saying, you're free to choose any of the exams on any of the disciplines. But in many cases, and this is where the efficiency comes handy, uh, many of the course content in one course will help you significantly with the other course. And we'll see that in this course as well. So systems and control, if you've majored in electrical engineering, then you have taken at least one system and control. Um, I know, at least from my experience, the course is not easy. It's usually dry with a lot of theory. And to be honest with you, this course also needs some effort, at least to refresh your mind on the main concepts. But as I mentioned, we'll try to be laser focused on the exam's content and be efficient in teaching you what you need to understand and learn to pass the exams. So for systems and control, the course map, according to the PO website, I'm saying according to the PO website because the exams actually have more elaborate questions, but according to their website, it includes systems models, impulse response functions, and transfer functions, which we'll touch upon very briefly today. You also need to understand system input and output and convolution, and two, some stability analysis of the system to understand when your system is stable, when your system is unstable, when introducing a controller by different types of controllers, including PID controllers, lag and lead controllers, for example. And we do so by investigating several tools such as the root locus analysis, if you're called from undergraduate courses, or the Bode diagram, or any other Nyquist plots, for example, or Nyquist criterion for checking the stability. So these are the main syllabus of the course. But let's dive right to the content of the lecture today. So today I want to talk briefly about a fundamental concept in the course, which is a transfer function. So as you know, our role as an engineer is to translate what the nature gives us as a physical model into a dynamical mathematical representation so we can understand the relationship between the different variables and elements in the system. Mainly, we want to have a better idea of how the system will behave given a certain input. So if you have a process, if you have a plane, if you have a motor, if you have a plant, whatever your description of the system is, you need to understand how it will produce a certain output given a certain input. So this input-output relationship is related by what is called the transfer function. And this is a very important concept that is dealt in every single question in the exam. So the transfer function, if we think about the time domain as u of t and y of t, for example, this is dealt by the convolution, which is, if you recall from your undergraduate mathematical courses, this is a very nasty and very difficult process and calculation to make. So in order to avoid this complexity of dealing with the ordinary differential equations, because as you know, the system is always changing in time. So we need to rely on the ODE to describe the system. And of course, I'm jumping very quickly on the main definitions here, but in the course we'll definitely go through them in more details. But the main message I want to give today is, in order to avoid dealing with the convolution and the differentiation and the integration, uh, Laplace transforms comes to the rescue. So by doing the Laplace transform, we're able to take the equations in the time domain and transform these ODE differential equations in what we called the frequency domain. So from differentiation integration to algebraic equation. So we avoid dealing with any time domain representation. And as you can see here, y capital of S is equal to h of S times y of S. Here, these are two main functions where we use the product of these two algebraic equations instead of dealing with the convolution in the time domain. And if we rearrange the equation, then we can actually see that h of s is equal y over y of s over u of s. Okay, so all of this in the Laplace domain or the frequency domain after the Laplace transformation. And the beauty of the Laplace transformation is you can actually take the inverse and go back to your time domain. So essentially, we have a model in the time domain, we transform it, work the system, get the input and the relationship we need, and then we can very easily, after doing the calculation, go back to the time domain to give a meaningful description of our input and output relationship. To see how is this applied in an exam, I show you a very practical example from May 2013. So this is question number 8, which asks you to find the analytical expression for the step response of this process. So essentially, you're given a transfer function. Here is called g of s, and we'll discuss in more details why it's called g of s and how do we come to this representation. But if we want to simplify this, this asks you to model the equation in the time domain. So it wants you to find the response of the system, the output of the system, for a step response in the time domain. So if we apply the process that we have described, then we know that we need to apply the Laplace transform. So the first step is to rearrange the equation, knowing that my output y of s is equal to u of s times g of s. I'm just rearranging the equation that was given to me. And because the question said a step response, if you recall, a step response is the response given for a unit step input. So this means that u of s is equal 1 over s. If you recall this, that's perfect. If not, we'll definitely go through the different input functions in more details and how to represent each one. But for now, we need to know that the step response corresponds to 1 over s. If we plug in 1 over s in this equation, then we can simply get this part right here of 2s plus 5 over s uh, times s plus 2 times s plus 4. So this is your y of s. The next step would be to do partial fraction because we cannot deal with the product in the Laplace transform. So again, this is stepping very quickly over over the main process, but this is what the course will be for, is to remember how to go from step 2 to step 3, how to do the partial fraction decomposition, so we can end up with 3 terms with a plus or minus between them at the end of ys. The very last step is to apply the Laplace transform, in this case actually the inverse Laplace transform, so we can go back to the time domain. If you don't recall how to do the inverse Laplace transform on top of your head, that's perfectly fine. This is what we'll do. And actually, once you know the process, it will be relatively easy because all we need to do is look up these values from a table, which will be given to you in the exam, so you don't need to memorize them, the Laplace inverse or the Laplace transformation table. So you can actually see for each term how to go back from and to the Laplace transformation. So hopefully this uh, lights some part in your memory from your undergraduate courses. So if we take each term in our equation, you'll see the first one is 1 over s. So you can see here on the very first term is 5 over 8, which is just a constant, time 1 over s, which will be translated into 1 in the time domain. So because we're taking the inverse Laplace transformation, we're going from f of s to f of t. So this means the first term will be 5 over 8. The next term, as you can see, so this is the translation between the first terms. The second term, we see s 1 over s plus 2, so like multiplied by 1 over 4. So essentially, this is an s plus or minus a constant. So this corresponds to the second item in the table. So this will translate into the e to the power a of t. So depending on the number in denominator, it will be translated into exponential number. So 1 over s plus 2 will be translated into e to the minus negative 2t, of course multiplied by the 1 over 4 as a constant. And last but not least, we do the same for the last term, which is 3 over 8 times 1 over s plus 4. So this also the same part of a negative exponential. Okay, and this is the final answer needed for this part A of the question. So as you can see, we try to introduce the concept, understand, remind you what is the transfer function, and right away to see how we can apply this in a practical exam questions. And this will be the model we follow in the systems and control course. So does anyone have any questions on the course? Okay, so given the time, I know we're a bit out of time, so let's go through the last part, and then we were more than happy to stay after to answer any questions you have on the course in specific. So let's go to our main services and prices for this session. So as we mentioned, we provide a full services of consultation, ranging from the technical courses to the CBA to help you with the application requirement phase. So our prices are for 4 technical courses, 2,700. All of these are, of course, in Canadian dollars. If you take less than 4 courses, then it's $750 per course. If you take 4 courses plus CBA consultation, so this is the preparation of your CBA assessment and answering any questions you have and guide you through the application requirements. This will be $2,950. If you want to have the CBA consultation only, so this is preparing your CBA for the application, it will be $300. This will involve you having a discussion with you, knowing your background, your work experience, and then guiding you how to explain to the PO your experience according to the guideline. And then, of course, we work together on making sure you meet all the standards that they request in evaluation, so it will be a smooth process. Um, Last but not least, if you want to have any general consultation on any specific question you have regarding your profile or any of the steps in a personal tailored consultation, that we will happy to provide 30 minutes or more of consultation as you need. So these are our prices for the fall 25 session, but especially and only for today's attendees, we have a special discount. So if you're registering from the link in the QR code, or what will be posted in the chat, if you take the 4 technical courses, only 2,400. Less than 4 courses, so meaning 1, 2, or 3 courses, 650. 4 courses plus CBA, 265. Reviewing the CBA, 255, and the consultation will be free. So if you have any questions, please don't miss the opportunity to get in touch with us, and we'll help you with any questions you have regarding any of the services we provide. Even if you don't attend any course with us, even if you don't need the CBA, we'll be more than happy to answer your questions for free. So this offer is valid until July 7th. So you only have 3 days to make the registration for any of the services with these prices. After that, we will resume back to the prices we have listed in the previous slide. One last thing, if you register for 4 courses, then we will provide the CBA for free until the end of July. So this is an additional bonus discount for today's attendees of the seminar. Okay, so again, I apologize for going over time, but if you have any questions, we will be more than happy to answer them.
What's the registration fees for PNG?
For the professional engineer itself.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
uh, so this can be found on the website. I think one of my
Mm,
colleagues can paste the link right now.
mm,
But again, this
okay.
depends very much on your experience, what type of license you need. But
Mm,
their full list of prices is available online.
okay.
So,
Because I have 10 years experience back in my country, mostly in
yes.
power plant. So they will consider this experience, right?
They will definitely, but
Mm,
depending on the type of experience that you have, they may count some of it or part of it or none of it. So we cannot answer
mm.
without knowing the details.
Yes, of
So,
course.
but definitely they will consider some of it.
Mm,
I have
yeah, but
another question. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
okay.
No, go ahead,
Like
sorry.
all are related to the electrical equipments erection, testing, commissioning.
and operation maintenance. So like all are related to power systems. So that's it.
Yeah, no, this is
Mm,
completely fine. So regardless of the
mm,
discipline or the exact
okay.
experience, as long
Mm,
as you meet the categories of competency that PO
mm,
specifies, it doesn't measure,
okay.
it doesn't matter the scope of the project or how big
Mm,
the company you worked for, as long as you apply the competencies that they're looking for. And that's
mm,
where we come in helping you um,
mm,
explain yourself in the best way possible for them to approve.
mm. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I joined late. My question is about the courses you're gonna
Yes.
offer. I mean, the four courses. What kind of material you gonna provide us? I mean, and do you have like any recommendations? Because from my side, they decide for me to have like the two exam from group A and one from group B. So, and still I'm not decided yet which scores. So I'm just wondering, what's your recommendations and which courses or which exam, yes, I mean from group A, I can take it, yes, and also from group B. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is an excellent question. So let me answer the first part, which is what kind of materials do we provide? So we create our courses based on the syllabus and content provided PO. So we take this and we take the references they provide and we structure our own course, including the full lectures, which are in slides, uh, which will be recorded and provided to you. So you will have access to that. And we'll also we provide you with the solved exams. So we believe in addition to the content and the lectures, it's very important to take a practical approach and answer as much questions as you can. So we provide you with the
so
full
like,
list.
from example, yes, I mean for group A, if I decide to go with the circuit, from example, the first, I mean, exam, are you gonna provide me, I mean, like the complete lectures which is required, I mean, to pass that exam?
Yes.
And do you have like some practice, I mean, for the questions, I mean, from the past? I mean, do you have like a list of questions? I mean, it will help me, I mean, to complete or to, I mean, to full understand, I mean, the questions which is going to be in the exam.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, as part of and of the course content, you will have access to the solved exams, all of the solved exams from
It's
before. So we
similar, I mean, for the real exam, yes, I mean, from the past.
they are the past exams. We provide you with the exact exams from the PEO, so you know for sure this is the most similar types of questions you will encounter in the exam.
Okay. And from your experience, sorry for the questions. I mean,
No worries.
because still I'm not sure, yes, I mean, which, the two exam from group A and the last one, I mean, from group B, because they decide for me to go with the three exams. So what's your recommendations? Should I take, yes, I mean, the A1 and A2, I mean, the same what you explain it, yes, I mean, in the slides and presentations, plus one from group B
Yes, exactly. We are more than happy to discuss with you in person.
in
Uh,
person.
yeah, so we know help you to the best recommendation. So, for example, I can say as a general recommendation that
Yeah, I mean, as a general, yes, I mean, if you want
yeah.
to pass, yes, I mean, for the three exam, yes, I mean, from group A and group B, what's your recommendations? Which courses we should
So
take it?
as a general recommendation will be the electrical engineering courses we have. So we have A1, A2, and A6. So we definitely can help you choose between A2 and A6 in addition to A1. So I would recommend A1 and then maybe A2 or A6, depending on your experience and the
Hmm.
discussion we have with you. So A1 plus choosing one of the A2 or A6. And then we provide B7 for the B group which in our experience is there is no easy course or difficult course, but depending on the types of questions, and you've seen, if you check the exams, you'll see a varying level of difficulty. So usually, in our experience, B7 is the one that doesn't require a significant tricky questions in the exams. So that's why we recommend B7 for the part B. Uh,
Ah,
and
okay. So you
and
recommend A1 and A2 plus, from example, we can choose, yes, I mean P7 or, yeah,
so
P7, yeah.
A1 and either A2 or A6 plus B7 and CS1 for the complementary studies. This is, of
Ah,
course,
yeah.
a general recommendation, but we'll be happy to discuss with you to provide a more detailed answer depending on your profile.
Okay. And also questions. What do you think? I mean, how many days or weeks you need? I mean, to cover? Yes, I mean for the four courses. I mean, A1, A2, from example, MP, plus also the CS course.
So again, I know it's a very common question, and you have all the right in asking this, but it's very difficult to answer how many days or how much time you need because, to be honest, we encounter some applicants who uh, got their degree 15 years ago and need a complete refreshment of their undergraduate courses.
Yeah,
And
it's the same like me also, you know, it's been a while now. It's almost like
I know
10 years or 15 years. So it's uh, it's not easy, I mean, to refresh again, yes, for the technical, like deep technical, like, I mean, like that
I
questions. So yeah,
I completely understand. And that's how we tailor our courses depending on the students or the applicants we receive. Because as I mentioned, some have 15 years of experience, so it was long time ago that they've taken these courses. Some
yeah,
have taken their degrees 2 or 3 years ago and it's more fresh. Also,
yeah.
where did you get the degree from? Depending on the country and the exact course, some of them have a good overlap with the content that we provide of the exams. Some have very different syllabus. So it's really a very personal question to answer. But in our experience, in general, on average, we see between a month and a half, between month and a month and a half of committed study with solving questions on the previous exams is going to be very sufficient to pass at least two courses or two exams. So again, this is a
Mm.
very average, general. Uh, Take it with a big grain of salt, depending on your experience and your how much you remember or how much you hated or loved your electrical courses in undergrad.
Uh, Sorry, I keep asking for the question. Sorry
Mm-hmm,
about that.
mm-hmm.
I know it's running out the time.
That
So
is
now
absolutely
if
fine.
like if I register now, I mean for the complete courses, the four courses.
Yes.
And I'm like full dedicated, I mean, to pass for that. I mean, like I will take with you, yes, I mean, the courses and also the materials and also be ready for the exam. Uh, should we recommend, I mean, to sit or to register right now, I mean, for the four courses in the for this term, or we can just like separate it like two courses and two courses? I mean, what's from your experience recommendations? Should I take all if I will dedicate like full time, I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
study and for preparations? Is it possible to pass, I mean, the four? Or
And again,
because
so
you know it's like because I'm going like when you register you pay money, I mean the fees,
of
yes,
course,
for that, yeah.
and
So
it's not cheap.
yeah,
I understand. No, no, of course.
yeah, yeah,
So again, answering the question is very difficult in general. Is it possible to pass all the four exams at once? Yes, many have done it. We have dealt with many applicants who have done it in the same time.
yeah,
If you consult with us, we will help you with the best answer. To be honest with you, in many cases, we advise against taking the four courses because we're not really only interested in getting the most number of students. We're actually interested in getting you pass of all the courses. If we believe that it's going to be very difficult for you or challenging for you to take all the four courses at the same time, then we will advise you to take only two or 3 courses, depending on how ready you are and what's your schedule. Do you work full time? Do you work part time? Do you have other responsibilities? Again, every applicant is different. So it will not be the case that we always advise for 4 courses, even it could be beneficial for us, but we will advise you for what is best for you depending on your case. In general, to answer the question, it is possible. Many have done it. Is it always the case? No. So if you know that you are ready and want to, so again, this is a personal question because it depends on the timeline of each applicant. If you really want to get over with the exams in one shot, you're fully dedicated, go ahead for the full courses. With the 4 courses, we will support you in that. If you don't know yet, please get in touch with us and we'll let you know what is the optimal pathway for you, either 2 courses or 3 or 4.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, what's your contact? I mean, should we send you email or we can have also your phone? I mean, how we can contact, I
We
mean,
will
for
put in the
more.
chat right away all of our information.
Okay, okay, sounds good. Okay.
And it's also right here. So you can, yes, so these are all our contacts. And also
Okay.
you can scan the QR code for the registration.
So the fastest way to get a fast response is by texting us on WhatsApp.
All right, any other questions?
No, like if I join your package for learning, then like was the value pass exam or what?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Yeah, actually, I'm just asking like if I sign the learning package from you, then like was the how long I can take your facility? Like until I pass the all 4 program, or how does that work?
Do you mean how long do you have access to the materials?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have access to materials until you pass the exams.
Okay.
We will commit with you until you get
And
over with it. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Even I will take like a separate, I mean, for the exam. So still at that time, I will have like access, yes? I mean, for the material.
Yeah, to be clear, I was answering the question if you take the 4 courses and you take the 4 exams and you don't pass one of them, then you
Yeah.
will still have access to the materials that you have purchased. Yes.
Okay. Questions also for your materials. So we need also additional materials, or your materials will be enough, I mean, to cover all the exams?
No, you don't need any more materials. We take and create the courses from the PO, uh, previous exams and references and syllabus. You will find many resources online that are similar but not tailored to the P.Eng or the PO exam structure. So of course you're free to explore more, refresh more, but you definitely don't need any more materials from outside our courses.
Okay. And how many lectures, I mean, per course?
So we guarantee at least 24 teaching hours. So depending on the number of students, their background, their experience, it's usually ranges between 8 and 10, including multiple sessions where we go over the exams exclusively. So between 8 and 10, depending on the number of students, depending on the exam schedule. So one question in the chat is when we will start. We will start the very next week, uh, so we can get ahead with the structure. And because the PO has not announced the exam schedule yet, they have said it could be as early as September 1st, but when exactly, we don't know. Maybe we'll know in August, but in order to make sure we are ready before the 1st of September, we might have to make some changes in the schedule of the courses. So the number and of the courses will depend on the schedule. And we will work with the students in the course as well to schedule the timings.
Okay.
The classes are in person or online, like same like right now?
Everything is online.
Oh, okay. That's
So
good.
also the exams are online. So it's better to prepare you work online as well.
Don't.
It's a multiple choice, yes? I mean, most of the questions in the exam?
No. So in many cases, it will be very similar to what I have showed, and Dr. Mohsen have showed in exams. So it will be a regular exam question where you solve it on a piece of paper and then submit your answer online. So it depending on the course and the exam, you will be provided with some materials, some tables, some equations, and maybe a piece of paper where you can write your equations, but it will be a regular exam structure.
Okay. Questions also about the fee, because you request now, I mean, 24, I mean, for the complete 4 courses. So what's the term, I mean, for the payment? We should pay like one time, I mean, or we can have like 50 and I mean, within the months.
This is a very good question. We provide
Flexibility, I mean.
payment plans where you can pay in, I think, in 4 installments. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Mohsen, but we definitely provide flexible options. You don't have to pay the full amount at once. You can pay it in multiple installments.
Yeah,
And all of this,
yeah, I can provide more details on this. So
Mhm.
basically, we offer
Yeah,
an
please.
installment plan at 0 interest rate. Like there's no more interest. You will pay 2,400 at at least 4 or 5 installments. If you go with 4 installments, they will be over 6 weeks. If you go with 5 installments, actually it will be a deposit and 4 installments over 6 weeks. And the first installment has to be in the first day of the lectures. So that, I mean, we can manage it over a total of 2 months. Did I answer my question? Your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we have gone 1.5 hours instead of 1 hour, so apologies for the delay, but I hope we have answered at least some of your questions on the license procedure and our services. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. As a reminder, we provide a free consultation until July 7th, and the discounted courses until July 7th as well. So here are our contacts. We'll be waiting to hear from you and wish you the best of luck in your licensure adventure with the PO. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.